name is Saul Aronovitch, and this is Journey Through the Veil. Now, I originally started this as a podcast, audio alone, but I soon realized that we're missing the interaction between you and I. There's a lot more depth, there's a lot more reverence, there's a lot more truly intimate interaction between you and I this way. And as we talk together, I'm not only revealing the veil, I'm revealing my veil. And this is where I'm starting. By showing you how I go through the journey of my own veil, I'm encouraging you to interact with yourself, to reflect on your own veil and your own challenges, your own struggles, and what keeps you under that veil from realizing the true potential that you have by allowing yourself to thin it out. It's not as difficult as you might think, although it is really challenging. It's a work in progress, and I strongly believe that the veil is going to be around for a very long time. But as it's around, we can thin it out and reveal more as we go through. And unfortunately, sometimes we'll put back our coverings because of being safe and secure. But I'm encouraging you to walk with me, to journey with me as we unveil and reveal truths of ourselves, truths of our experiences. And we're doing this just not in the physical way. There's an energetic component here. There's a spiritual component. There's a component that lies so deep inside of you, the true veil inside of you, that is going to be revealed as we talk together. And as I share with you how I, in my own experiences, began to peel those layers off to where I am today. Believe me, when I was young, my veil was really thick. So thick, heavy. And even though today there's still a lot of heaviness that goes on, the veil is much thinner. What does that mean? It means that I feel lighter. It means that I feel more connected. It means I feel more open and accepting of who I am as a person, for the kind of person that I am in all my levels of being: physical, emotional, mental, intellectual, spiritual. In all those levels, to be okay with who you are in trying to work through your day-to-day, in trying to understand how each one of those levels connects to the other person at their level that are the same. And in turn, the collective over the entire existence. So these videos together, as we interact together, I encourage you to follow along with me, to go through some of the exercises that we're going to go through to help you open up your own veil, to help you be aware of your own veil, and how you can slowly peel those layers off to find your true potential. So walk with me, please. Journey with me. And together, we will journey through the veil and reveal it and reveal you. So let me start off. My name is Saul, as I've mentioned to you. And my understanding of energy and work of that kind, modalities as we would call them now, stems from when I was really young. Even before I really understood the concepts of life in general, I already had something inside of me that I didn't understand. And it was so much that it overwhelmed me to the point I didn't know who I was anymore. I was maybe 3-4 years old, and I remember distinctly looking at different things and people and saying, do they see the world the way I do? Do they understand the world the way I do? And I was really young, and I would ask similar questions like this to others and ask them, how do you see the world? I never really got an answer that was acceptable to me. And not that they couldn't answer it in their own way, but it didn't make sense to me. How I see the world, and when I asked others, the responses were a bit for them, their perception, their perspective. And I didn't really, for one, understand the concept of perspective, how we see the world through our own eyes. But at that age, there was something added to my world beyond the standard physical environment that you're in. I understood the concept of energy when I was really young. Instinctively, we know this. For example, if you have a pain somewhere, maybe in your tooth, you're automatically going to put your hand there. Now, why do we do this? It's an automatic reflex to soothe. But what else is going on is that internally, we have an energetic flow. And by instinctively, we're sending that flow to the pain. Now, I knew this at a really young age, that something was moving and happening inside of me when I touched. And so when my brothers or friends, I was really young, 4 or 5 years old, my brothers or my friends would have a pain somewhere, I would automatically put my hand on them and just close my eyes and sit. And what would happen is I started feeling something tingling inside of me, something moving inside of me, and I just allowed it to exist, allowed it to flow. And the more I allowed it, the stronger it became. And at that age, I had no idea what was going on. But it felt good inside. So I allowed it to continue. And sure enough, the pains of my brothers and my friends, they would disappear. Disappear like that from simply putting your hand on. Now, we do it all the time, but we don't necessarily understand what's going on. The more I caught on to this, the more I did it. And I'm a very curious person. So as some things come to me, or as I learn something and I begin to become more aware of what's going on, I'll say to myself, well, now what can I do with it? And so at really young, I would say even earlier than 5, more like 4, as people around me started feeling these certain pains and things going on, I would automatically run to them and put my hands on them because it felt good. I had no idea what was going on. But although this was I would say, a blessing, at that age, I had no guidance. I had no mentor. I had no one. So as I was developing, that I didn't even know I was developing, this ability, this awareness, because we all have it. We all have it. As I was developing this ability and this awareness, I couldn't talk to anybody about it. So I was torn between wanting to help others, but at the same time, what is going on with me, nobody understands me. And even the way I thought, because the more I opened myself up to this universal understanding of energy and what it really means, believe me, it goes very deep, not just physical modalities. It goes so deep. But the more I began to understand that, the more alone I felt. So much so that I felt torn between how do I approach something that I love, knowing that it means others won't understand me. You have desires, you have wants, you have needs, you have true heartfelt spiritual, true heartfelt love desires. And I don't mean addictive desires, I mean deep inside. You will have them. But you say to yourself, but if I go for them, no one's going to understand me. Because this is what I'm drawn to. And you'll do it anyway. Or maybe you won't and you'll seclude yourself. I've done both. But my drive to learn and understand this was so much stronger than my willingness to be accepted. And so I accepted being alone. In mind, in physical, I had friends, but it was a little difficult to explain to them what was going on inside me. But that heaviness of being alone grew, and it grew, and it grew. And it grew to such a point that, I'll fast track a bit, I was 11 years old, and I walked to a bridge. It was a long walk. Easily. For 11 years old, it's a long walk. If I'm not mistaken, most probably about an hour and a half, I think. If I remember correctly, it was a long walk. I walked to a bridge and looked down. And I thought, nobody understands me. Do I really even belong in this world? Do I belong in this world? Is there a place for me here? These are the questions that I had. Is there a place for me in this world for the kind of person that I am, for the emotions that I have, for the desires that I feel, for the way that I see the world, the way I see it, the way I see the world that nobody seems to understand? Is there even a place for me? I didn't think so at 11, so I walked to a bridge. 45, an hour and a half, however long. It was long. I walked to that bridge. It was a long walk, even internally. And when I got there and I looked down, hands on the railing, ready to jump, I stopped myself. Because as I took the breath and I looked down, my fear of drowning actually overwhelmed the jump. The process of dying overwhelmed me so much that I couldn't do it. Fast forward a bit now. My field of study is the process of dying. And I kid you not, it just came to me now. The connection between the bridge and what happened. My major is called Thanatology, the study of death, dying, grieving, bereavement, helping others before, during, and after. Those that are dying and those that are left behind. So this has been Journey Through the Veil. I am Saul Aronovitch, and I hope that this video encouraged you to be a little bit more aware of your beginnings, where you came from, the veils that were covering you. And we're going to keep going and diving deeper into these veils. And if they maybe frightened you along the way as they did me, or they made you curious to know more, or they made you recoil and want to know less, together we'll walk this journey. So I encourage you to comment or to think about and reflect on the veils that you have been covered by and the curiosities that you have in terms of where you are in this world and how you do fit, just not necessarily in the way you might think if you feel you don't fit. I look forward to speaking to you again soon.